Welcome to the balcony. And today we're going to be transplanting zucchinis. Yes, very dangerous. And in fact, these zucchinis are quite well established. However, I have run into a slight problem with overgrowth. My first time growing zucchinis, and they grow fast and large. And I didn't expect them to grow this large or fast in these containers because they're not even a foot deep. But the soil mix I have here, which is a high concentrate of worm castings mixed with some organic topsoil, peat moss, and a little bit of rock dust, they've sprung out. So as you can see, I'm showing what I'm going to be doing, and that is basically just taking the entire root mass out itself. And that way I won't have to worry too much about the roots getting pulled away from the plant or torn or ripped. Now, this really only applies to container gardening because if you are growing zucchinis in the ground, the roots are going to be a lot bigger, unless they are new zucchini plants and they're recently planted. With the containers, they're kind of limited, right? They're going to hit the walls, curl back, slow down. So at this point, it's going to be easy for me to do what I just did, and that is take the roots right out of the soil, and it's going to be like a carpet. In this case, I'm in the shade. I don't have to worry about the little roots burning up. So I'm just simply going to place that on top of the other soil and see what I got underneath. And as you can see, there isn't any roots in here. There's a few roots at the very bottom, but those are coming from the tomato plant that I have in here. And because of that tomato plant is rooted out so well, I think I'm going to leave it just to see how well this zucchini plant will do in here. And I don't recommend doing that. They're going to be fighting for nutrients. However, this is just kind of, it's not an experiment. I do want these plants to do well. However, I don't want to pull the tomato out until I know that the zucchini itself is going to be doing well. So I am checking the soil and making sure that there's no large particles or anything in the soil before I transplant. And what I'm going to be doing is placing the zucchini to the right, the smaller one, into this bin. So much like the zucchini I just removed, which will be going into a separate pot, I'm just going to judge and see what's going on in these roots, because my main goal here is to preserve the largest zucchini on the right. And I anticipate both root systems to be mixing with each other and kind of mismatching, but however, we're going to check and see. So as you can see, this root ball has been, I guess, not been allowed to grow as much as the right because it's been competing for nutrients. And you'll see in a second here just how small this root ball is. And I did have to pull some of the smaller fibrous roots away from the larger one, and that's fine because I want that right-hand zucchini to flourish. And if I only get the one zucchini, that's okay. But we're going to see if we can get both of them going. So I'm just going to fill up some of this healthy topsoil from the left bucket and cover up any exposed roots, just so I can limit the disturbance to the existing roots. And then I'm going to come back with some organic topsoil mixed in with a little peat moss, just to maybe put in about 1.5 inches over top of the roots, so give them a little bit extra room, protect them from the sun, and protect the water or the damp soil from drying out quicker. So I think we've got the soil laid out and ready for a bit more topsoil. I'm just going to level it out a bit and put a little topsoil in. And I am going to throw the rest of this worm casting in as well, just because it's the last of the bag. And there we go with some topsoil. And this is the same topsoil I used in a previous video. It's just the Miracle Grow Organic. And I can't say anything good or bad about it because it's been too short of a duration. However, the actual mix of the soil, it's quite rich and organic matter, and I will say that it is quite a nice mix with the peat moss, and I've been quite happy with it. No large pieces of debris. It's been filtered quite nicely. So I think if it does well with the plants, and I don't have any negatives, I think I'll definitely pick it up again. It's only around $6 at the Home Depot. So this zucchini is looking good, and I think I'm gonna plant the second one in now. So you can kind of see it's sloped from where the tomato plant is. So I'm just gonna create a small circle here, rough up the soil, and we're not gonna have to do too much because this root ball, as you can see, is quite small. So we're just going to spread out the roots there and simply flick over the soil just to cover any white roots that you do see. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go ahead and level out the soil, and then we're going to come in and put some more organic topsoil peat moss over top. And I did create this video kind of to show the pros and cons of transplanting well-developed or more developed plants than, say, a seedling would be. And it's always risky doing this because depending on the variety of the plant, tampering with the root system that's well-developed could put the plant into shock. And like I mentioned in the last video, it is the tips of these roots that are the most sensitive to the shock, whether it be drought from lack of water, moisture, or shock from too much direct sunlight, resulting in drying out. And lastly, just remember to give them a good water. Not a good soaking to drown them, but just to make sure that the roots are nice and damp and they don't dry out after the transplant. And one other thing that I like to do is make sure I don't put too much pressure on the soil, especially when you transplanted vegetable plant. I just want to make sure that I'm just gently brushing the soil over, and just watering it will compact it and in time. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll definitely do some updates and let you guys know how they worked out. So please leave some comments and hit the like if you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.